Hi, guys. So, welcome to Suitcase Divas. We are now officially in season 3. So, welcome, 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 my beautiful co host, Jackie G. And I'm Denise D. So, today we are going to talk about travel anxiety toolkit. So, let's just do a little check in. How are you feel? Like, if you had to travel today, Jackie G, how are you feeling?
It would it would still give me some anxiety if I had to travel today. And I can't even say this just because of the particular day. I think travel always gives me a slight level of anxiety. So, yes, if I was traveling today, I might feel a little anxious. So, what about you? What if you had to travel today?
Well, those of you that know me know that I am anxious every day, especially when traveling. Yeah, I am definitely one of those people that struggles to travel. Not so much a car, but there's different ways we travel, right?
Right.
So let's kind of let's maybe kind of get into that a little bit later. But we've all been there. We've all been a little stressed, but you have a little bit more insight because you worked in an airport, right?
Yeah, so we'll talk about one of the main ways to travel by air, right?
That's
We
one of the
definitely
main
fly
ways.
a lot of places for
Mhm.
sure. So, yes, I have worked in the airport. I used to work in the Dallas Love Field Airport, which is one of the smaller ones, right? That is the Southwest hub. So, not a huge, huge one, but
Okay.
definitely gave me just a different look, right? I've been a traveler, I've been on the other side of it and had kind of those anxieties, but working in the airport and seeing people come through, being able to watch how everyone handles it has just been really, really interesting. So, one of the things I do want to touch on, just because I've seen this in so many different forms, is people who are anxious, right? And again, I was a bartender, so maybe they come in for a drink or two. Okay. So, nothing wrong with
I feel
that.
like you're like singling me out, Jackie.
So nothing wrong with that. I'm all about a travel drink. That's definitely, something that you can treat yourself with at the airport and everything. So first and foremost, make friends with your bartenders. Okay. If anything's going to go wrong, they are always there. They're always circling and they are trained to look out for it. Okay. We do take specific training to watch for people, to have conversations with people, to kind of see how you're feeling and everything. So no, they're not being nosy. They're just trying to help you out. Okay. So let's say you're someone who does get anxious. Maybe you took a little bit of medication before you came to the airport, okay? And with that, you decided to go and have a drink, okay? So, just one of the cautions that I like to tell people is please be careful with mixing alcohol and
Yeah.
medication, okay? Those
I mean,
are very, very serious things. And Denise, I don't know if you've ever experienced that
I
or
mean, I
with
don't take,
anyone.
I don't have anxiety medicine. Not that I think there's anything wrong with that. I'm definitely an advocate for if you need to
Absolutely.
take medication, you absolutely take medication. But I'm kind of one of the old self-coping methods, which is why I'm at the bar and probably getting a mimosa because
Right.
that
I was
does calm
like,
me. That definitely calms me. But I don't mix.
yes.
I would never mix my medicine with alcohol.
Right, right. So for some people, it can be kind of like that extra level of anxiety, like, oh, the
Yeah.
medication isn't kicking in, let me have a drink. So I'll just tell you guys a little story. Okay. This is sometimes what can happen. So
Ooh.
I was bartending one evening. This is something that it's one of those stories like I really wish I'd seen the end of it because I'm so curious. So I was bartending one night. Towards the end, we're in like the last hour-ish of bar time, right? This lady comes in, she just has a little purse on her, like a little makeup box. That's it. Okay. She sits at the bar. She orders an old fashioned. I make her an
Which
old
is what?
fashioned.
What is
She's
that?
it's okay. An old fashioned is a bourbon based drink.
Okay.
So it's about, a shot and a half-ish of bourbon, some bitters, and it's the pretty one with the cherry and the orange in
Okay.
it and
Okay.
everything. So very classy drink,
Yep. Yep.
not
Okay.
overly strong. And she spent about half an hour or so sipping on the first one. Okay. Half an hour or so sipping on the first
And
one.
what time of night is this at this point?
So this was probably about like about 9 o'clock. We closed
Okay.
around 10. So about 9 o'clock at night. Had a conversation with her because I say hi to everybody, make sure they're not drunk when they first come in. And she was fine. Sipped on her one drink. After she finished it, about 10 minutes later, asked for a second one. So she's been there about 40 minutes now. Okay.
And you're
And for
close.
the
So you're like, one more. What can it hurt?
Right. Like it's fine. It's the airport. I totally get it. And just for those of you who maybe aren't bartenders or maybe don't know alcohol content, right? One drink over the course of half an hour, 40 minutes is absolutely fine. I would not expect anybody to be acting out after that. Okay. So I served her second drink in a plastic cup. We're closing, right? She had to go. And she didn't even touch it, but she just started not being able to speak comprehensively. I was trying to explain to her, like, hey, it's time to sign out and cash your check. And her eyes got real droopy, and she just sat there, uh-huh, okay, thank you. And that's all she said for 5 minutes.
So
I
she got
I
some.
talked with her. I had a manager come over and talked with her. We ended up having to call two police officers up to come and speak with her. And they're like, ma'am, you need to pay, you need to close your check. And she just kept smiling and nodding and say, uh-huh, thank you. As they're handcuffing her, she's thanking the cops and everything. And the craziest thing was they searched her. No wallet, no ID, no credit card, no debit card, nothing on her. I don't know how she got on the plane. No idea.
Mm,
But it was one of those things, that I have to, as a bartender, I have to explain this is what I served her. This is the conversation we had. They did find some medication in her bag. So, like, maybe she took some medication and then came and drank. And now she's completely disoriented. Okay.
right.
So, as far as I know, she did end up missing her flight because, once that happens, they take you down to the drunk tank, et cetera. And I'm so curious. I don't know how this lady got to the airport with no ID, but.
Maybe she left it somewhere in the bathroom or some shit.
I don't know. I don't know. But see, and with that airport, she was coming from a plane and connecting to another plane.
Mm.
So, anyway, we were all very, very confused. But all that to say, guys, be very, very careful in the airport. Definitely watch yourself. Take your medication. Let them know you're on medication. There's no embarrassment about it. We don't judge you, but we just want to be able to help you. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And, we're happy to serve the alcohol. No problem. I totally get a
Just
travel
give us
mimosa.
a
Just
right.
let us know, so, if you pass out or
Well,
something.
one thing I will say, and then you said she was a solo traveler. One thing I will say,
Mm,
when we traveled with the kids, when my kids were younger, I was like the mom, like I was in charge. I mean, I
right.
needed to make sure everybody had their stuff, all my kids were taken care of. So I
Yeah.
didn't really do the mimosa or whatever. I was just more like rigid, like, okay, let's get the kids from point A to point B and we're here.
Right.
Now that I'm an empty nester, I'm like, I cannot wait to show up at the airport and have a mimosa. Um,
Yes. It's like the
so
highlight
it's
of
like
traveling.
there's for me, different anxiety times. The other thing is, I don't even remember the last time I've traveled solo. So
Mm,
I typically travel with
true.
other people. So there's always people around me that could be like, hey, Denise, maybe three mimosas too much. Friends would never say that. So my point is,
Right.
yeah, know your limits and definitely don't mix medication with alcohol because there
Yes.
absolutely can be ramifications to that, as you witnessed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're talking about the airport, but there are definitely other travel anxiety categories. So flying fears was our first one.
Hmm.
Another one I'm seeing is planning overwhelm, too many choices, fear of missing out.
Oh yeah, I feel like that's a big one. That's a big one for me.
You do have
That's
that?
that's a big
Okay.
one for
So
me.
so what are you saying? Like if you want everything structured and if something goes wrong and you don't have a backup plan, you kind of spiral, or how does that work for you?
I don't know if it's that I spiral. I think sometimes I'm trying to fit so much into a time, or I want to make sure that I see everything. And I mean, like, even, for myself and even in business, I've heard people like, okay, we're traveling to this destination. We have 10 days. We're probably never coming here again. I want to do it all. I want to see it all. And if something doesn't go wrong or doesn't go right, it's like, do I have a backup plan? Can I go see something else? Did I miss this? Did I miss out on that? So I get it. I can kind of get those planning overwhelmed. So I wouldn't
Yeah.
say I'd spiral or anything. I'd be concerned and worried that I was wasting time, maybe.
Right. Now I get that too. So for me, paranoid Patty, I'm more like mine are more like safety concerns, like if I'm
Mm.
traveling to another country. And my
Hmm.
biggest concern, as you all know, is I feel like at some point somebody's going to try to human traffic me. It's been a concern. I know it's probably not realistic,
Well,
but
you're just so
you've
pretty. I
seen
mean,
you it has nothing to do with that. Mine is just like I don't know. Like, what if I don't know the protocols? And this is why I don't travel alone because I am afraid. Like, what do I would not know how to react if I was absconded by people in the airport and you're like, we're coming with us. Outside of kicking and screaming, I really, and the hand gesture. Listen, You and I, when we
Yes.
were doing this, the hand gesture is important for everybody to know. So if you are in a situation where you have been taken by somebody and they're forcefully taking you and you can't scream or you feel like you're threatened and you're not in a position, the
Mm-hmm.
whole open, closed palm and
Mm-hmm.
letting people know. And then you can even do it behind your back. And so that your
Yep.
attacker's holding this arm, you can still do that on your
Yeah.
back. So I would advise, and there's one that's specifically for human trafficking, and it goes with
Yeah.
the ASL.
Yeah, that was going to be the H and the T. So if you don't know sign language, this is the letter H and this is the letter T, okay, with
Right.
your thumb right in between. So, and it stands for literally human trafficking, okay? And if you're ever confused, I know there might be different signs in each airport. Ladies, if you're in the bathroom, they're pretty much on every single bathroom stall. Every
Yeah.
single bathroom stall will tell you if you need help. This is the hand signal. Here's how you let people know. So, if you're walking by someone, tap their shoulder so that they turn around, do it behind your back. Or, I'm not going to lie, I would be the worst kidnap victim because I'm just going to sit there and start screaming bloody murder and I'm just going to start screaming fire. I'm going to learn the word fire in any language I need to learn because that's something that gets everyone's attention for sure. I'd be the worst person to kidnap. They would absolutely return me. Absolutely return me.
Well, I do think it's good to know the hand gestures though. And so anywhere and be on the lookout because typically it is
Hmm.
younger, like not people that probably maybe can't be like Jackie and like, I'm gonna beat you down. You're not getting beat. Um, so I think that that is absolutely something to be aware of. There could be other issues though too, not just like
Hmm.
you've been abducted or anything like that. It could even just be social anxiety. Like, what if you're going to a wedding? Or what if
Hmm.
you're going to meet your in-law or your future in-laws? Like, there's all
That's
kinds of
very
social
stressful.
anxiety you can, and if you're
Yeah.
like traveling abroad or if you're going, being homesick or
Hmm.
away from your family or loved ones. I know that
Yeah.
I know it's kind of lame, but I look at Riley when I'm away. I'm looking my kids are like, you care more about the dog than us. But I'm looking at pictures of Riley when I'm away, and I'm just like, God, I miss that puppy. He loves me so much.
Oh, that's
Um,
funny. Your kids know
so
you love them too. It's
I
okay.
do, and I'm
They'll
going
be
to
all
give a
right.
shout out to Mr. Alex who turned 18 today.
Happy birthday,
Hey,
Alex. Whoop,
Alex, you're
whoop.
officially adult.
3 more years till we can go get wasted. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding, Mom. Don't do
He's
that.
not a drinker at all. He's not interested in any of that. Thankfully.
Oh, that's probably for the best. Well, good. Then he'll do great traveling. Excellent. But again, guys, I mean, grab that drink. Absolutely nothing against that. I know it helps. It definitely, can help.
It takes the edge off for me.
It does, absolutely. And I've seen it. The only thing I tell people, I definitely had this guy come in one time, early, early morning, right? Most places start serving usually around 7 a.m. So it was like maybe 7:15. He was taking a morning flight, came in, stood at the bar, ordered a double shot of tequila. I was like, okay, good morning. Let's get the day started. So gave him his double shot, slammed it down, said, okay, I need another one. Now, typically the rule is if they're having a double, it needs to be at least, like 20 minutes, let them have some food, have a conversation. So, immediately I'm like, hey, where are we flying to? Where are we going?
So you're trying to engage him in a conversation.
Right. I kind of want to know a little bit. Well, he's about to hop on this plane for this really big meeting with all these bosses, and he was super, super nervous about it. I made him talk to me for like, 5, 6 minutes or so. He seemed okay. I did serve him. It's one of those things, bartender's judgment. I stand behind everything I pour. I
Yeah.
served him. He put down the second double. He's like, can I have another one? I said, we're gonna have to talk for about 15, 20 minutes before I give you anything. And I'm only gonna give you a single at that. So sat for a little bit. He ate some toast. After a little while, I gave him one more shot very briefly after some food, and he was on his way. Perfectly fine. And at that point, being in the airport, I definitely have that minute of, am I going to see the cops walking back with this guy who's wasted or anything? But everyone
I
has
would
a
say
different type
that
of
guy is used
alcohol.
to drinking, and
Right.
like he
Everyone also has
would
a different tolerance. I have a very, very high
I
tolerance.
I would be on the floor if
Right.
you served me that. I wouldn't even have been able to finish the first double shot because that's just
Now,
not
see, and like that's how I drink.
I
Like you give
can't.
me a
That's not
double
how I
shot,
roll.
no ice, no mixer, no whatever, I'll take it, no problem. moving on. Like that's fine. So I get it. But that's also why, if you're at the bar and you're just like, I just want to sit here quietly, why are these bartenders bothering me? It's kind of our
You have
job.
a job to do. Yeah,
Yeah, we do. We do. I mean,
absolutely.
we should be being nice as well,
Well, so
but we
those
also
are
have a
things
job.
that you're talking about pre-travel. But then,
Yes,
okay, so now we're like, let's just go back to the airport because that, to
sure.
me, I think that's the biggest fear of anybody is flying
It
and getting up
is.
and flying.
Mm-hmm.
So there's things that you can absolutely pack that are kind of like your little security blankets, your creature
Yeah.
comforts, right? If you will.
Hmm.
So standard ones that I just off the top of my head, I know a lot of people do the Beats or the noise canceling headphones. I
Hmm.
think that could be beneficial. Some people do eye masks, although I'm so afraid of being
Mm.
pickpocketed. I mean, but that is some people just like to block out the light and then I cannot get over how many people can fall asleep on a plane. Like literally, I've seen somebody get into the seat and sit next to me and they were snoring within 5 minutes. And I'm just
Oh
like,
yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
superpower that I do not possess, by the way. I cannot
Mm-mm.
do daytime napping, and I especially cannot do it on a plane. But some of the other things are like, the pillows, the whole pillows, the light
Neck pillows, yeah.
blankets, so that or the weighted blankets, so that you feel like you're
Mm-hmm.
in this little cushy nest. I know
Mm-hmm.
some of the apps, I don't have the apps, but I've heard some of the apps are really good to just listen to, and then they just help you get into your Zen spot. Do you have apps on your
Right.
phone?
I do. I have one that's called the White Noise app, which I highly recommend.
Okay.
It has a whole library of all different types of sounds that are relaxing, a good mix of sounds. So if you're someone who likes just that background noise, it's an excellent app and it's free as far as I know. The only other one that I've heard of, and I think we've talked about this, was that Calm app, which I'm not a huge advocate of. I know that there's a cost to
It
it, I
looks nice,
believe.
but nothing's
It
free. Like I
is.
think it's
Yeah.
like 7.99 a month
Right.
if you want to get access to all of the meditations and the
Right. So maybe
sounds.
like just for the trip, you want to look at something like that, or even comfort movies and TV shows. Make sure that you just download them. I'm always that person who forgets, and I'm like inline boarding, like, oh crap, I'm supposed to download my episode. So maybe just set a reminder and download it in the airport. But yeah, those are definitely some really good comforts for you
Yeah,
guys.
I like all about comfort and familiarity,
Hmm.
definitely. Another thing I heard about is ear seeds. Have you heard of this?
I haven't heard of those. What exactly are those?
So ear seeds, it's a little adhesive pellets that you put on your ear and different like one would go different pressure points. It all comes down
Okay.
to like the Chinese medicine of acupuncture. I've not used them, but I heard they are pretty good to help calm people and if you do acupuncture or you do any of that. Same with the tapping. I've heard like tapping can be
Mm-hmm.
something. Breathing techniques, that's definitely another one. So I don't really have any. We were talking about this earlier. I don't have any specific breathing techniques, but for me, I typically breathe in through my nose, like 4 upbeats and out through my mouth. But that's
Mm-hmm.
just my personal, that does tend to calm me. Do you have any breathing techniques or
Right.
anything that you know of that is your go to?
I don't know that I personally use them. So the one you were talking about, just kind of counting in, counting out, slow breathing is definitely helpful. There
Mhm.
are some, I mean, they have names. So there's what they call the box technique, which is breathing in for 4 counts, holding it for 4 counts, breathe out for 4 counts, and no breath for 4 counts, right? So it's like a box, four, 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 and four. Okay, so you're just kind of very slowly breathing and controlled. And then there's also one that's called the triangle, which is just three in, three, hold, breathe in for three, hold for three, breathe out for three.
Okay.
So really, it's just calming and controlling yourself. So whether you're counting to four, five, six, I mean, maybe try not counting to like 15 or 20, but pick a number, a few in, maybe
I
hold
would
it for
just
a few seconds,
I
release
don't
it.
even go for 15. Like your goal should be like 3 or 4. Let's just start simple, people. Don't
Right,
even
we're not trying to
like
hold our
the
breath in the
divas told me
pool.
to
We're not
go for
going for
15. I
Olympic
got a
medals.
record
I know, right?
as you're
They
on the
said I had to
floor.
hold my breath. Everyone
Not
passing
for
out in the
15
airport because
seconds. No, that's not what we said.
like I promise that's not what we said. So please, please, please breathe, guys. Okay, breathe. Few seconds in, few seconds out. Okay.
Just breathe. Be like Drew Barrymore in Cinderella. Just breathe. So yes, breathing techniques can be fabulous. Now, if you are literally in a panic state, this is a new technique to reset that I hadn't heard for before now. It's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Have you heard of this method?
Mm-hmm. I hadn't before we discussed it. So, yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah. So do you know what the 5 is? 5 things you can see. So so let's just say I'm kind of hyperventilating. I'm in a state where I'm not okay. I'm definitely on the verge of a panic attack. So these are things that I'm going to try to
I'm
do.
gonna hold on. I'm gonna pause you because our whole video just stopped for a minute. Hold on.
Oh, it didn't stop on my end.
It stopped on my end, so just in case, we're just gonna back up to the beginning of you talking about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Give it a second. Okay.
Okay. So the other thing is we talked about so the breathing is good, but if you
Mm-hmm.
actually are in a state of or on the verge of an actual panic attack or
Mm-hmm.
anxiety attack, there is a method called the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 that is supposed to ground you, emergency grounding. Have you heard of this?
I haven't before we talked about it, so tell me more.
I think it's definitely beneficial. So
Hmm.
I hope to not have to implement this, but at least I know and I can help somebody else if need be. So
Yes.
5, the first is 5. So 5 things that you can see immediately. You just need to be
Mm.
looking for 5 things that you can see outside your window. Whether I hope you're not at like 3,000 feet because it's mostly going to be clouds and skies. Then it's
Big
not going to be
cloud, little
outside your
cloud, small
window. And
cloud.
then it's going to be let's look for somebody with a hat. Let's look with somebody for glasses. Like you're just resetting your button to
Mm-hmm.
see 5 things that I can see. Let's move on to number 4. Number 4 is 4 things that you can feel. So now we're looking for
Mm.
tactile sensory. We're moving through the sense.
Okay.
So now we're paying
That's good.
attention to the texture of your clothing.
Mm-hmm.
If I have my bling, which I always will have, then maybe I'm talking about feeling my necklace or feeling my bling or something like that. So you're going to touch 4 different things. You can touch your boobs if you want to.
Yeah, and maybe not other people. I will just say that. Please don't go around touching everybody in the airport.
Touch your own boobs.
They
No.
said I had to touch stuff.
Miss D said that I could go for the double D's. No, only touch
Oh
yourself
gosh.
and
Okay.
whatever. And let's just move on from there.
Okay. Yes. Just to clarify.
We can hear 3 things we can hear.
Yeah.
So now we're listening for sounds of, children crying or a beverage pouring,
So
or
this is now 3 things you
we're
can
now on
hear,
3
right?
things that you can hear.
Okay.
We've
Yeah.
already done the 5 things we can see, the 4 things that we can feel, the 3 things that we can hear. So
Okay.
now we're listening. So we're getting lower and lower and we're trying to contain ourselves. Then we're
Okay.
looking for 2 things that we can smell because smells do take you
Mm.
some places. You know what I mean? Hopefully in a good
Mm-hmm.
way if you're in this situation. I would maybe, I mean, if you have, like, I actually have in my purse, I have like a little, it looks like a Vicks vapor rub, but it smells
Mm-hmm.
like bergamot and something
Mm.
calming like vanilla. And
Nice.
I
Nice.
bust it out and it really is like, it really does give me a reset. Some people like peppermint. Some people think
Mm-hmm.
peppermint is like if you're feeling
That's a
motion.
good headache one people put on their temples.
Right, right, right. So then you
Mm-hmm.
think of 2 things that you can smell. And then it comes down to 1 thing you can taste. So that
Okay.
might be trickier on a plane if you have a stick of gum, if you have, something
Mm-hmm.
like that, you know, if you really like the little biscottis, what else?
Those
Or
things
a
are so good.
Tums, an Altoid. Again, that
Mhm.
mint, I think Altoid, some people really go for that mint flavor. And
Yeah.
it kind of is like just makes you feel more relaxed or
Mm-hmm.
you've gotten. So the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, I
That,
really have not had to use it, but it's supposed to be quite effective. And I think
yeah.
it's worth having everybody know that that is something that you could try.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I really like that. And you're right. It is kind of definitely a grounding thing. If you're starting to pay attention to your surroundings, you're kind of getting more and more into yourself with it. And I love that. The only other thing that I would love to add is when we talk about the smell. And you were talking about, you do carry essential oils sometimes with you. That was something that I thought about when we were talking about the neck pillow. I know sometimes they have those calming sprays or
Yes.
like the aerosol ones. I've seen people spray their pillow. So when they're sleeping, they're smelling it. It's a little more natural.
Absolutely.
I've definitely seen, when you're talking about the roll on, rolling it on
Mhm.
your wrists, rolling it
Yes.
on your neck. Like we we're talking about people putting peppermint on and stuff. So if you're into oils or you carry anything like that, they always have little travel sizes that you
And
guys
that
can
will get you
bring.
through
So,
customs, that will get you through TSA.
oh
Like, if
yeah.
you have the
Yeah.
small quantities, you absolutely
Mhm.
can take that with you on in your bags, in your purse.
Yeah.
And
Or a little travel hack or a little travel tip. I've seen ladies take like those empty little circle containers. They'll put a little bit of unscented lotion in it, and then they'll squeeze either their perfume, their essential oil over it or whatever, and it becomes a little container of lotion. If you're worried about taking the actual liquid, mix with some unscented lotion, then you can rub it anywhere and you still get that smell without having the
Mhm.
actual spray. So, saw
No,
that on
that's
Facebook.
good.
I was like,
Yeah.
that's genius. The hack was mostly used for like taking your favorite perfumes. If you have a big bottle of
Well,
perfume,
right,
you
because
can't
that's
take it.
expensive, right?
Yes,
And
and
you
they'll
don't want
just
to
throw it away through TSA. So,
they sure is.
yeah, unscented lotion, ladies, can take you very, very far. So, yeah, just wanted to add.
So even when we're so just going back through the so we've talked a lot about like different travel anxiety hacks for
Hmm.
today, but just also I will say another one if you're walking through the airport or it's not like if you're not in a panic but you just feel anxiety. We're not at the 5 4 3 2 1, but you're just feeling
Right.
a little like okay,
You feel the nerves.
yeah, I'm feeling a little bit of aja. Like I feel like, okay. Another thing that I recently learned about is a color walk. Do you know what a color walk is?
I didn't know. I'd never heard of a color
So
rock
this
before.
has become popular. And I think that what happened when 2020, when COVID shut everything down, people started going out more and they started walking more and they started
Mhm.
looking into nature more, just doing things that so I will say a color walk is designed to just help your body focus on things that are not anxiety. So if my color walk, if I was to pick yellow, like say my color, so I would look through the airport and I would look for anybody wearing a yellow jacket or a yellow hat or
Mhm.
luggage that has yellow on it. Same thing with if you're out in nature too. A simple walk can reset you and you're just looking for
Yeah.
a color that means something to you. My mom's favorite color is purple. I love purple. So I might choose purple and I might
Mhm.
just go out and look for everything purple that I could find in the airport, in nature, wherever I am,
Right.
just to kind of be more grounded and refocus my shift to finding something rather than worrying about something. So I
Right.
think that could be a very color walks are become really popular in the last few years. And
I
I've
love
been
that.
doing it a little more and I really enjoy color walks. I do think
Mhm.
that they're definitely something to get your mind focused on something else other than worrying about what your current worry is, whatever that may be.
Right. 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 No, I absolutely love that. And even with that, something using a technique like that is obviously really great for you and yourself. If part of your anxiety is because you're traveling with little ones or traveling with kids, and maybe you're concerned about how they're going to be handling it all, maybe that's the anxiety. Something like a color walk could be a fun game. You can modify it, right? How many
And kids are
yellow
so good. They
shoes can
love to
we
turn
find? Type
anything
of
into,
suitcases.
yeah.
Right. It can be any object, anything like that. So whether you're playing a game, to distract your mind or distract your kids' minds or something, it's just a great little thing to play, right? So
Yeah.
I love that. Love
Any type of anti-anxiety method that we can throw out there and help you
that.
going forward, we absolutely would love to do that. So would also like to hear like if you've had like a horrible or a really good experience and what you did to overcome that anxiety and methods
Yeah.
that worked for you that maybe we have not mentioned. We're always up to hear more from our listeners as to
Hmm.
what we could do to improve. And absolutely, we'd love to hear from our listeners about that if you have suggestions.
Absolutely. Yeah, and always, guys, with travel, I know we mentioned this earlier when they asked about, how I feel about travel planning or if I'm someone who kind of gets anxious, and I am. So I'm definitely someone who's like, I know
We
where I need to
know.
park and
We
what I know,
know.
right? I know.
Yeah.
It's just it's a thing, but I know where to park. I know if I walk through security, I gotta figure out where the gate is and find where I'm at and just take it one step at a time, okay? You
Mhm.
don't have to think
Give
from
yourself extra time.
everything, right? Right now, drive to the airport, find a parking spot, get inside, find security, right? Take it step by step. Go get your drink, because that's a very important part of the list that we do before we get on a flight, okay? Very important. If you drink, right? Don't go around saying Jackie made me drink. I promise, okay?
No,
It's
that's
not what
not
I'm
what we're
doing.
advocating. I'm just
But,
saying it's
however,
you do you in whatever way that you
right,
see fit. But I would
right.
say also give yourself extra time. If you're an anxious person, you don't know
Always.
if you find the parking right away. Maybe you have to circle back around and that takes an
Hmm.
extra 5 minutes. And now you're already like, oh shit, I'm behind. I'm going to
Yep.
miss my flight. I'm going to miss my flight. So always give yourself extra time. I would say that is definitely a hack for if you're an anxious traveler, whether it's going to an airport, which can be also because those planes will not wait for you, people. You might think you're important, but you're not.
You are not.
When they
Not at
take
all.
off, they take off, and you're going to
Yep.
be behind if you did not
Bye.
have adequate timing.
Not care.
You can be a CEO, you can be
Mm,
whoever, they will leave without your ass. So I'm just
yep.
saying, give yourself extra time. And same with driving. If you know you've got a long day, wake up a little earlier, get you a cup of coffee, get that
Hmm.
little bit of food in, and whether you need to do a meditation or a little bit of breathing, just make sure you're giving yourself the time and you're not setting yourself up for a disaster.
Right.
Because once you're in that anxious moment, it's definitely harder to bring yourself back than if you don't let yourself spiral in the first
Hmm.
place. So
Yep. Yeah.
today, we're trying to set you up with these just really helpful tips on how to
Hmm.
travel and be less anxious. So,
Hmm.
I mean, I think for me, my next anxious thing is going to be solo traveling. I'm not ready to do that anytime soon, but I think that would probably be my most anxious is to do a solo trip. But I'm looking
Okay.
to not have to do a solo trip. But
See,
what do you think yours is?
I'm a
Like,
little on the opposite of that for you, and probably
true?
because I've done a lot of traveling by myself. Honestly, I think I get a little bit more anxious when I'm traveling with people because, for me when I'm by myself, I can just do things my way. I can do whatever I want, pack
You're on
however I
your own
want.
agenda.
Right. It's all kind of like on my own timing and everything. When I travel with other people, I'm a very empathetic person too. So I'm like, what are they doing? Are they on schedule? Do they have what they need? Is everyone good? Are they happy? Do I need to move this? And it makes me a little bit more anxious, especially if I'm, sharing a room with them or something, like, was that weird? Should I move that out of their way? Like it actually raises the
It
bar
can
a little
go
bit
both
for me.
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's so
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's very
So,
interesting.
which is also why you can't travel with everybody. I do feel like traveling is a big determination on relationships, friendship, whatever it is. If you
That
can
is
travel with them, that's a good thing.
those are facts. Those are
Yes,
facts.
absolutely. But I definitely hope this helped everybody. I definitely hope there are some techniques that we were able to talk about. And coming from two somewhat anxious travelers, we might know a thing or two. So please, please let us know your anxieties too, because I know we're not the only ones, right? It can't just be us two.
No, it's
It's not just
more
us.
people than you would think. But
Right.
yeah,
Right.
I think that'll
So,
wrap up today. So thanks for hanging with us, and we
mm.
will see you next episode. Safe travels as always.
Bye, guys.